You know what's wild about The Mask? We all remember the noise, the faces, the jokes. But the movie itself? It's actually kind of lonely. When The Mask came out in 1994, it felt like a cartoon exploded into real life. But underneath all that energy was Stanley Ipkiss, a guy who felt invisible every single day. He wasn't weak. He was just ignored. And that hits harder the older you get. Jim Carrey played Stanley at 32, and this was the role that turned him into a phenomenon. Stanley without the mask was polite, nervous, always apologizing for existing. Stanley with the mask was everything he'd been holding back: confidence, anger, desire, ego. Watching it now, it almost feels like Jim was showing us two sides of the same struggle. Now 63, Jim has stepped back from Hollywood, talked openly about mental health and fame, and honestly, The Mask feels less like a comedy and more like a warning. Then there's Tina Carlyle, played by Diaz. This was her first big movie role, and you feel it the second she shows up. Tina wasn't just attractive, she was self-assured. She moved like someone who knew her worth. Cameron was only 21 then. Now 52, she's chosen a quieter life, stepping away from the spotlight for long stretches. Looking back, Tina feels like the version of confidence Stanley thought he needed to deserve love. The heart of the movie, though, was Milo, Stanley's dog. Loyal, protective, always there. Milo wasn't comic relief, he was unconditional love. And honestly, he grounded the entire movie more than any human character. Lieutenant Mitch Kellaway, played by Peter Riegert, was the adult in the room. The guy trying to make sense of a world suddenly operating on cartoon logic. Peter was in his late 40s then, now 77, and his performance mattered because he didn't play it for laughs. He treated the chaos seriously, which made everything else work. Stanley's friend Charlie Shoemaker, played by Richard Jeni, was another quiet anchor. Charlie believed in Stanley even when Stanley didn't believe in himself. Richard brought warmth and loyalty to that role. Knowing that Richard later struggled deeply and passed away makes those scenes harder to watch now. There's a sadness there that wasn't obvious back then. And then there's Dorian Tyrell, played by Peter Greene. This is where the movie gets heavy. Dorian wasn't just a villain, he was resentment turned violent. A man who felt disrespected, overlooked, and angry at the world. Peter Greene played him with a cold intensity that stuck with you. There was nothing cartoonish about him. He felt real, dangerous, unstable. Peter Greene passed away last year at the age of 60, and knowing that now, it hurts a little. His performance in The Mask wasn't just memorable, it was haunting. He brought depth to a character that could have easily been flat, and he deserved to be remembered for that. That's the thing about The Mask. It wasn't just funny, it was about what happens when someone finally snaps after being invisible for too long. Stanley put on a mask and became powerful. Dorian put on power and became cruel. And the difference between them wasn't strength, it was choice. That's why The Mask still sticks with people. Because everyone's worn a mask at some point, and everyone's wondered what would happen if they stopped taking it off. See you next time.